Hello there, very good evening and a warm welcome to the news live on Rupavahini ChannelEye. I'm Sharam Masquinius.
A very good evening indeed. I'm Charita Minipurarachi, and now let's move on to the headlines for tonight's news.
The Prime Minister addressing the inaugural session of the G20 Interreligious Forum reiterates that the future relies upon unity and coexistence as one nation. Ajit Nivard Kabral, who has resigned from Parliament, is scheduled to assume duties as Central Bank Governor on the 15th. Jayant Katagoda has been appointed to the vacant MP post. Professor Malik Piris has been bestowed China's highest science award. 73,710 doses of the Pfizer vaccine to the island. An oral report on Sri Lanka has been presented to the inaugural session of the 48th UN Human Rights Conference. The United Nations warns that Afghanistan is in the throes of a severe humanitarian crisis.
On to those and other stories in detail now, and starting off with local stories. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa says that future lies upon the unity and coexistence as one nation. He made these remarks addressing the inaugural session of the G20 Interreligious Forum in Bologna, Italy. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa and Madam Shiranti Rajapaksa have been accorded a warm welcome by the Sri Lankan nationals in Italy and Italian public when they left the hotel they have stayed to participate in the summit. The Prime Minister has acknowledged the greetings of the massive crowd that flocked the hotel premises and also extended his best wishes to them. The G20 Heads of State Conference is scheduled to take place in the capital city Rome of Italy on the 30th and 31st of next month. The Interreligious Forum is being conducted in parallel to this event. Leaders of several countries and organizations, including the United Nations, have expressed their views at the meeting. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa has addressed the inaugural session as Prime Minister and also as Minister in charge of Buddha Sasana, religious and cultural affairs. He added that he was immensely pleased to address the session under the theme Peace Between Cultures and Understandings Between Religions.
Ethnic, religious and cultural diversity. Our countries are home to people from diverse ethnic backgrounds, professing different religions and nurtured by an array of cultures. And yet, rising above these differences, we have responded to the challenge, building a sense of mature nationhood, uniting all the differences. Our future as one nation depends very much on this idea of unity and solidarity, which is absolutely essential to achieve economic, political and social goals. Extremist ideology and violence associated with it represent one of the most serious challenges of our time. It is appropriate to recall the tragic event of 9/11 exactly 20 years ago and to share our deep sense of grief with the families of victims of this outrage and indeed with all humankind. This is a reminder of the need for eternal vigilance against all forms of terrorist action, however be the offenders and whatever be their professed aim and purposes, to take place in Bologna, a city which has rightly, I observed from the conference documents prepared with great clarity, that you have placed a sharp focus on the areas in which peace and harmony among cultures play a vital role in our time. I have no hesitation in identifying education as the most important of these areas. It is the duty of policymakers and educationalists through the curriculum and methods of teaching in our school and universities to emphasize what all religions share in common, areas of consensus rather than the point of reflecting differences. Youth in our educational institutions have the unique opportunity to build bridges rather than walls and forge friendship which last. The government in my own country is giving priority right now to reform the content of education, to bring it in the line with modern requirements, and to equip our youth to secure satisfying livelihoods which will sustain them in life. The grave health crisis which the world is experiencing at this time serves to underline the bonds which unite us all. COVID-19 makes no distinction among religions, nationalities, and civilizations. Strikes deadly blow at all humanity. In order to survive the pandemic and resume our lives once more, international cooperation needs to be strengthened. Vaccines and other protection made possible by modern medicine must be available across the globe, with firm arrangements in place for less affluent nations to be assisted by international organizations and by countries with strong economies. Migration in search of a better life is challenged by conditions prevailing today, but employment opportunities on an equitable basis must be continued to be available freely. Our government is very much preoccupied with the protection of women and children against exploitation and all forms of discrimination at home, in place of employment, and in society at large. Our attitude is one of zero tolerance of human trafficking. Reconciliation is a critical need of our time. Conflict, escalating tensions are all too evident around us. Here again, our religion teaches us that hatred is not conquered by hatred, but by love alone. Rather than all grievances derived from the past, we must focus on the present, the need for harmony, points of view different from our own, and inspiring new frontier which awaits us all if we forge the urgently needed links of brotherhood and understanding. To this end, this refreshing symposium in Bologna, the oldest seat of learning in Europe, makes a contribution of the highest value.
Two separate protests have been organized yesterday against and in support of Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa, who is engaged in an official state visit in Italy. The protests were conducted in Bologna city. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa is engaged in the official Italian tour in order to address the inaugural session of the G20 Interreligious Forum, and one protest was organized based on the Easter attack series. The patriotic Sri Lankan collective in Italy has organized an event in solidarity of Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa. The organizers said the protests are being carried out against the Prime Minister, who has ended 30 years of terrorism, by those connected to the LTTE diaspora.
මිලානෝ වලින් එන්න එපා කිව්වා. දේශපාලනේ තියෙන එහෙ නෙමෙයි. දේශපාලනේ තියෙන මෙතන. මෙයාලට විලා කතා කරන්නවත් අයිතියක් නැහැ. මට කතා කරලා කිව්වේ මේ නෝනා ඉන්න එපා කියලා. දැන් කලින් කිව්ව කතා කරන නෝනා. මේක කැත වැඩ. මම අපි දාස් ගණන් වියදම් කරන් ආවේ.
An honourable farewell has been accorded to the Prime Minister by the Sri Lankan nationals and Italian public at the time when the Prime Minister left the hotel where he stayed. However, it has also been reported that certain social media had distorted the video scenes and published their reports under the theme Sri Lanka Prime Minister was being subjected to hooting in Italy. And stories at home, a communique issued by the President's Media Division says that President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has appointed Ajit Nivard Cabral as the Governor of the Central Bank with effect from the 15th of this month. He is scheduled to assume duties on the 15th. Mr. Cabral, who has previously functioned as the CB Governor for nearly 9 years, also held posts as Ministry Secretary. He is a qualified chartered accountant. Also in the same story, Ajit Nivard Cabral resigned from his parliamentary post today in order to assume duties in the post of Governor of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka. The Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna has decided to appoint Jayantha Katagowda to the parliament seat, which fell vacant due to the resignation. Ajit Nivad Cabral has handed over his letter of resignation to the Secretary-General of Parliament Dhammika Dasanayake this morning. General Secretary of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna parliamentarian and attorney-at-law Sagara Karyavasam was also present on this occasion. The incumbent Central Bank Governor W.D. Lakshman is scheduled to retire from the post tomorrow. Ajit Nivad Cabral is scheduled to be appointed to the post. Cabral has been functioning as the State Minister of Finance, Capital Market and State Enterprise Reforms prior to the resignation. He has also functioned as the Governor of the Central Bank from the year 2006 to 15. Ajit Nivad Cabral said that he is hoping to receive the President's letter tomorrow and to commence duties on the 15th of this month. The former MP further said that the basic aim and the task is to preserve the economic stability in the country and the stability in the financial system. He has recalled that they had undertaken similar challenges in the past as well. The economic stability had been maintained even during the war period, during bank collapses and when the oil price hit $145. Ajit Nivad Cabral added that solutions exist for the challenges, that they are ready to accept these challenges. In response to a query whether he was disgruntled over the events, he added that the Governor of the Central Bank is not a simple job. The work has to be carried out under severe pressure. He added that they are compelled to shoulder such burdens. Jayantha Kattagoda, who is the prospective nominee for the parliamentary post created vacant due to the resignation of Ajit Nivad Cabral, was earlier appointed to Parliament as a National List MP of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna. He has resigned recently from the post, paving the way for the entry of Basil Rajapaksa to Parliament. The Secretary-General of Parliament has informed the Election Commission that a vacancy has been created due to the resignation of Ajit Nivad Cabral as Member of Parliament. General Secretary of the SLPP, Attorney-at-Law Sagara Karyavasam, has handed over to the Election Commission today a letter nominating the name of Jayantha Kattagoda to the vacant portfolio. Administrative Secretary of the SLPP, Renuka Pereira, has also attended the event. The Election Commission is scheduled to meet on next Friday and to gazette the name of the MP nominee to be presented by the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna. It has also been reported that Jayantha Kattagoda is scheduled to be sworn in as MP on the 21st of this month.
World-renowned Sri Lankan medical scientist Professor Malik Peiris has been felicitated with the highest science award to be presented by China. The Chinese embassy in Sri Lanka says Professor Peiris will also be handed over prize money of $1 billion. Professor Malik Peiris is engaged in scientific research based on the Hong Kong University. The Chinese government has presented the Future Science Award for the research jointly carried out by Professor Peiris and Chinese scientist Yuan Ko-Wong-Yung regarding the invention SARS-CoV-1 virus. The pioneering work conducted by Professor Peiris and Chinese scientist Yung had become invaluable in the treatment of the SARS epidemic when it had erupted in the year 2003. A communique from the Chinese government says that these findings have become extremely useful in the preparation of medical science strategies to control the COVID-19 pandemic. The Chinese government also says that award is being presented through a collective of credible scientists with private fundings and business establishments. They have taken into consideration the foundation of medical being carried out in China, Hong Kong, Macau and Taiwan. Future Science Award also being presented by excellence in his field of physical science, mathematics and computer science. Moving to the local update of the COVID-19 pandemic, a further consignment of 73,710 doses of the US-manufactured Pfizer vaccine was brought to the island today. Accordingly, Sri Lanka has so far received nearly 27 million doses of vaccines. Aircraft QR668 of the Qatar Airlines brought the vaccines to the Katunayake International Airport. 24,077,046 vaccine doses have been given to the people under the COVID vaccination program. 13,497,826 have been given the first dose of a vaccine. 10,579,220 have been given the second dose of the vaccine. 2,118,954 have been given vaccine doses during last 7 days. 72,177 vaccine doses have been given yesterday. Vaccination of persons between the ages of 20 and 29 years are continuing. The vaccination program took place today as well at Battaramulla Dietha Uena premises. The persons who have been given the first dose of the Sinopharm vaccine were given the second dose. Vaccination programs are continuing at the Vihara Mahadevi Park as well. All those who are under the age of 20 years who have not yet been vaccinated are able to be inoculated at this location. The Sri Lanka police has commenced a vaccination program at the Viswai ground in Mutwal today. On this occasion, the first and second doses of the Sinopharm vaccine has been administered on persons above the age of 20 years. Bhikkhus and persons between the ages of 20 and 29 years in the Kaluthara town have been vaccinated at Dharma Vijaya Piramine in Kaluthara South today. The event has been organized by the medical officers of health office in Kaluthara. A mobile vaccination program centering on several districts on persons above the age of 60 years and those with special needs is being conducted continuously. The Sri Lanka Army has taken the initiative to inoculate persons in the Colombo district who are unable to leave their residences today as well. The Government Medical Officers Association says that a one-day vaccination program will be implemented tomorrow on people in the Kurunegala district who have not yet received a single dose of COVID immunization vaccines. Northwestern Province Coordinator of the GMOA, Dr. Indika Ratnayaka, says that according to the program will be conducted at the Kurunegala District General Hospital from 8 a.m. till midnight tomorrow. 1,755 COVID-19 patients were detected from the country today. 61,951 persons are currently receiving treatment. And meanwhile, 1,483 patients left the hospitals today following complete recovery. The total number of fully recovered patients is 414,295. The Director General of Health Services has reported on 135 COVID-19 related deaths today. 109 out of this number were those who are above the age of 60 years, and the number of victims between the ages of 30 and 59 years is 26. Australian High Commissioner in Sri Lanka, David Holly, says that false propaganda being carried out at a time of successful vaccination and appropriate controlling is an obstruction to the COVID-19 control program. He points out that the situation prevails in Sri Lanka as well as in Australia. The envoy, at a discussion with Minister Kehele Rambukwella at the Health Ministry today, has also appreciated the extremely successful vaccination program in Sri Lanka. Mr. Holly further said that Australia has already extended aid amounting to $11 million for the COVID control program. The High Commissioner has also presented a souvenir to the Minister in connection with the 75th anniversary of the diplomatic relations between Sri Lanka and Australia. Minister Rambukwella said that Sri Lanka is greatly appreciated by the international assistance, including the support of Australia to control the pandemic.
Specialist Dr. Channa De Silva made remarks on the immunization process of children in the country.
Alongside the rapid spread of COVID-19 infection, immunization of children against COVID-19, especially children less than 18 years of age, is again a topic. Now, most of the parents are concerned whether our child can receive this vaccine. There are some discussions going on, especially the Sri Lanka College of Pediatricians also made some recommendations. This process will begin soon and the official announcement will be done by the Minister of Health. But our suggestion is to continue this process, especially the vaccine rollout, especially children less than 18 years of age, in stepwise manner. The first step, we mainly focus on children with some sort of chronic diseases, especially disabled children and some children who are on long-term treatment. For example, children with immune deficiency disorders, it may be primary immune deficiency disorders which they have these problems of their immunity due to some sort of genetic factors, or it may be due to secondary causes like cancers or some sort of conditions which they require treatment, which this treatment itself might cause problems in their immunity, or other children with some other diseases, maybe diabetes mellitus, some sort of other endocrine problems, heart diseases, significant severe heart diseases, liver problems, kidney problems, and children with lung diseases, especially long-term chronic lung diseases. Children with mild wheezing does not include in this category. So we have some sort of just approximate estimations, around 30,000 of children will be eligible for this first round, because these children are the most vulnerable group according to the data, even in Sri Lankan data as well as the global data. Children with this type of comorbidities might have highest risk of development of severe COVID-19 infections or even deaths. So this is the group we should focus in the immunization and initial step. But when the vaccines are available and more data accumulate, as a second step we can consider immunization of children over 16 years, especially targeting the A-level and O-level group. So this will facilitate the school reopening as well as conductance of the special national examinations like ordinary level and advanced level examinations. But later, immunization of all children above 12 years, 12 to 15 age group will be considered very later, because there are some controversies regarding this immunization of this group. For example, it is now being approved and carried out in USA, America. All children aged more than 12 years are getting vaccine, but still that is not approved in United Kingdom, the England. So there the approval for COVID-19 immunizations for children 12 to 15 age group is not being considered at the moment, because all these things depend on the safety of the vaccine as well as the effect of vaccine, especially the reduction of severe diseases. So because of that, children with some sort of underlying problems, long-term diseases, chronic illnesses as well as some sort of disabilities will get the priority at the first phase, and later, depend on the vaccine availability and the more evidence of the efficacy and the safety of these vaccines, rest of the children, immunization of the rest of the age group above 12 years will be considered in stepwise manner.
Welcome back to the news. Secretary to the Ministry of Education, Professor Kapila Pereira, requests to submit relevant applications of the GC Advanced Level and Grade 5 Scholarship Examination to the Commissioner General of Examinations before the 15th of this month. He has made the request in a special statement to the national television. Secretary to the Ministry of Education, Professor Kapila Pereira, said that the request has been made from principals not to neglect their duties in handing over the application forms. He added that principals have sent applications on Grade 5 scholarship exams to 2,853 schools. 421 schools are in need to receive applications. Commenting on the advanced level examination, he said that they have received applications from 2,863 schools. He added that principals in the Northern Province have performed an excellent job in handing over the applications. Leader of the Janatha Vimukti Peramuna, Anurakkumara Dissanayake, says that, the opposition leader should have been examined due to his utterances on request to hold an election amidst the pandemic. Anurakkumara Dissanayake was responding to a recent statement by opposition leader Sajith Premadasa in this regard. Opposition leader Sajith Premadasa said that they demand the government to immediately resign without putting the country into bankruptcy. He has requested that people should be given the responsibility once again to administer the country. Leader of the Janatha Vimukti Peramuna, Anurakkumara Dissanayake, said that his brain has to be inspected. This is not a statement with true feelings on the economy of the country. This is an extremely mature and irresponsible statement. He has questioned as to which citizen would say that under present occasion to conduct an election.
The 48th session of the United Nations Human Rights Council has commenced today. High Commissioner of the UNHRC, Michelle Bachelet, has presented an oral report.
The enchanting natural beauty in the environment of Kalawepa has been further intensified due to a unique occurrence. That is the continuance of presence of herds of elephants on the bund of the picturesque lake. We've got something special for you. The water level of the Kalawepa has now gone down. As a result, the outer surrounding of the reservoir has taken a bright green color. The greenery is attributed to a growth of special variety of grass. The massive bees arrive on the top of the lake daily for drinking and consuming of grass. Wildlife officials say elephants in large groups of the National Wildlife Sanctuary and the adjoining protectorates frequently roam the Bund. More than 300 elephants could be witnessed daily. Spectators of the Kalavavan National Wildlife Park are able to watch many famous tusker elephants at this location. This is the scene of a well-known elephant, Asala, both engaging in a fight with another elephant.
A container heading for Colombo from Abilipitia has fallen on a precipice of 20 feet. The container has clashed with a motor car and motorcycle in Ketandola in Ratnapura. Our correspondent says that the motorcyclist was hospitalized. The traffic division of the Ratnapura police is conducting further investigations. With that, we conclude tonight's news. Do just tomorrow at the very same time. Stay safe. Good night.